Sometimes you wonder how many people are really taking a look at it. And what their comment was to me was that you really incorporated a lot of your mission and your values into that video. And I know it's not obvious to a lot of people if you don't know what the mission and the values of the company are, but we're going to go through some of that because that's really what I wanted to share with you all. And the other thing that is really blatantly obvious about that is that our focus is agriculture. I'm curious, how many of you all are in the ag or ag sciences major? Okay, and many of you aren't. So in the ag industry right now, we're in our 4th year of a down cycle, right? Down cycles are not good for anybody that's in ag, and a lot of it was commodity price driven. Corn and soybean prices, wheat prices all dropped about 4 years ago in half. So the good news about that is whether you're in ag now or not, coming into later in 2017 as we start, because all cycles, that's why they call them cycles, they hit a bottom and they start to climb up and then they really go much higher. I'm predicting, and a lot of people are predicting, that we'll be back on the upswing by the end of this year, and into 2018 we'll be starting to see much higher phase of the cycle. Good news for anyone looking for a job. If you're a junior or senior now and in a year or two you're going to be out there looking for a job, ag sciences, ag technology, ag marketing, data, IT, anything related to those, biotechnology, I see a real bright future for those who are interested in coming into our industry. And obviously agriculture has changed a lot since 1979 when I graduated, when, you know, much lower tech. It's really a high-tech industry now. So just for your benefit, look for agriculture in terms of career choices as you get closer to graduation. So obviously ag is part of what is all what we do, and these are ranchers here. I didn't realize you were going to be here, but I'm using a quote from Dan because in this quote, it captures much of what we do as a company, which is share experiences. So as you may have noticed from the video, our company is about experience exchange, peer influence to those end users that are part of the overall ag marketplace. And when I first started the company, and actually about a month before I started the company, I had 15 years with a big bureaucratic organization, Chevron, and you know, they were into more than just oil. They were the old Ortho brand, which I know has had a few permutations since those days. But I learned so much from that huge bureaucratic organization about how to start a business, about how to manage a business, to lead a business. And I learned probably 60% of the lessons I learned were what not to do to create a long-term, successful, entrepreneurial type of business. Because, you know, you're a $10, $25 billion company. You're like a huge battle, you know, aircraft carrier that you can't change directions very easily. And we wanted to be more of a PT boat. So I thought one of the most important things about starting a company that I learned in the many years at Chevron was culture and what our principles are, what we are all about, how are we going to find meaning in what we do. So I save everything. This was my file of Beck Ag history, and these were no, I know my handwriting's terrible. My kids tell me that all the time. But you can see I had a whole bunch of ideas about what should be our guiding principles. And then I put down here, I'm not sure why, but somebody probably advised me, you don't want more than 5. So I ended up going with 4. So our guiding principles, the most important thing to me was to allow the people that work for us to have balanced lives. Now, that means balance between their family life, their personal life, and their career. Because when you work for a big company like a Chevron, you don't have balance. You jump when they say to jump, or you move when they say to move, or you work till 1 a.m. if you've got a deadline the next day. So you really don't have a whole lot of control of your life. So balance and allowing our people to work virtually. So think about this. This is 1997, and we started a virtual company, okay? I know not a big deal in 2016, 17, but in 97, email communication was just really starting to become fairly easy, and we had the old AOL dial-up connections. I know you probably don't even know what I'm talking about there, but it was a very slow sort of communication, but it was faster than putting something in an envelope and addressing it and putting a stamp on it and going to the mailbox and sending it, or the fax machine was another quicker option. But anyway, allowing our people to have balance in their lives was important to me, and encouraging individual responsibility and opportunity. That was so important because, again, being virtual, we didn't have an office where you could go down and check on what somebody's doing or breathe down their neck all the time. You had to trust that those people out there in the field, in their homes, working for you, were taking individual responsibility and working to represent the company the right way. So that was important to me. Our filter, focusing our mindset on the activities that help our clients and their customers to grow their business. That underlies everything that we do. If what we are challenged to do is not going to help our customers or our clients to grow their business, then we're probably going to turn it down and not do it. And you may be thinking, why use clients and customers? So internally, for our purposes, clients are the people, the companies that pay us to engage their audience, the audience being farmers, veterinarians, the rest of ag professionals. Those people that we do engage, that we talk to and converse with and dialogue with, those are what we term as customers. So that's the end user audience. And then if you're not improving yourself, you're going to end up either as a company, not existing anymore. So we knew that we couldn't continue to just be where we were. We had to continue to raise the bar. That's what internally as a company we've used as an expression over the many years is, what are we doing today to raise the bar so that we're better tomorrow than we are today? And then our mission is to improve business results for our clients and their customers by engaging them in experience sharing dialogue that changes behaviors. That's what it's all about. That's why our clients pay us, because we need to be changing the behavior of those end user customers out there for our clients. And again, I had mentioned it, but our filter is, will what we're doing improve business results for those who we're doing it for? One of the books that I would encourage you all to read before you ever try to build any kind of endeavor or business is Jim Collins' Built to Last. It's an awesome book. And some of these principles are from that. Some of them are just from my experience over the years. But we want to be great at what we do. Yeah, we're a small company compared to the clients that we deal with. I mean, we're dealing with international multi-billion-dollar companies like Pioneer, like DuPont, like Monsanto, like BASF, John Deere, Case IH, Pfizer Animal Health. but we want to be considered as, boy, these guys are, they can stand toe-to-toe with any big company out there. So be great at what we do. Find meaning in the work that we do. If we're just doing what other companies can do, then I don't think people are going to stay with us for very long. People need to find meaning in what they're doing. And the meaning that we have is largely about revolutionizing the way that farmers learn about new products and technology. It used to be back in the old days, they would go to the coffee shop and they'd say, hey, what's Sam using down there on his field? And we've taken that and made it much easier for farmers to engage just over the telephone to learn about what new technologies are helping their peers. Provide a positive career environment for professionals who are passionate about agriculture. Passion about ag is so important, and we found that people go the extra mile if they're passionate about the industry that they're engaged in. And then generating return on investment, that's what R.O.I. is. I love this quote from Stephen Covey, stay focused. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Over the 20 years that I've been doing Beck Ag, I can't tell you how many times people say, oh man, what you do, that peer exchange, you could do this in the software industry. You could do it for luxury goods, for automobiles, for boats. And I'm like, you know what? We are focused on agriculture. That's what we want to be known as, the ag company. Of course, having a name with ag in it, Beck Ag, kind of makes it a requirement to be involved in agriculture. And then contributing back to our communities. I feel that, especially because we're a virtual company and people see their neighbors every day that work for our company, they feel good about themselves if they can take some of our profitability and give it back to their communities. And we have programs where we'll match certain donations that our employees make. And then we find people that they feel good about themselves for helping others. That's been a big thing. I feel that I've not gotten to the point that I've gotten to in my career success by myself. I've received a lot of help from many other people throughout my life and my career, so that's important to us. And most companies that don't follow many of these and other principles, they don't survive. I mean, that's just the facts that only about 20% of all companies that were started in '97 made it to 2017. I'm not going to read this whole letter, but this is from one of our new young guns, 35-year-old guy. So I'm almost 60 now, just to give you some perspective. You probably knew that because you saw the 1979 graduate, okay. But this is about culture, and you can see what I have. Culture eats strategy for lunch. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your culture is dysfunctional, or it's not applying to the end user, the customer base, then you won't survive. And I love what Jay says here. What I didn't know at the time was how committed the organization, Beck Ag, was committed to our guiding principles. Believe me, many offsite retreats with Chevron where we designed these wonderful principles and this, kind of core values as a company. We tweaked the mission a little bit, we tweaked the vision, and then all of us geniuses put that great information into the 3-ring binder and it went behind the desk in the bookshelf and we didn't share it. I'm always sharing our guiding principles. Almost every week I will send out an email or some form of communication that has at least 1 or 2 of our guiding principles reinforced in it. About culture, so you can see that, recent news about United dragging the guy off the plane. So how does that relate to culture? Well, think about it. Now, I know that it wasn't actually a United employee that did the dragging and the beating of the customer, but there were flight attendants there was pilots there. You see the airport security or the police coming in and roughing up one of your customers. If your culture is about, hey, we do everything we can to make sure that our flying customers are safe and treated with respect, and we do the right things for the customer, then you're not going to allow that to happen. Somebody needed to intervene and say, whoa, stop. This is not who we are as a company. So I just love that picture of the guy strapped to the airplane. One of the other things about our culture, and it's kind of relevant to the agriculture industry, maybe not so much in 2017 as it was in the late 90s and the early 2000s, but ag has historically been kind of an old boys, old guys network, and we didn't have a lot of diversity, didn't have a lot of women in particular in leadership or management positions. And I was especially proud of this award that we received a couple years ago. And as you can see, 5 of our 9 shareholders are women. And part of it is that our culture of personal and family and career flexibility allows for, okay, here's the reality. So you graduate from college as a woman, and you work for some company for 5 years. I'm giving kind of a stereotype, okay? So then you get married, and you want to have kids, and you don't want to be traveling all the time, and you don't want to be locked into a career that is forcing you to work certain hours, or at least not giving you enough flexibility. And I'm not saying all big companies do that, but I think the advantage we had as a company that really helped us to get some of the absolute best people in the world that we hired from many of the big companies was they said, wow, you mean I can actually work out of my home, and I can be in the same town as my husband so that maybe we can get pregnant? And then that was a motivator for really good quality people to come to us and work for our company. And so that a lot of our early employees were women, younger women, that were in their childbearing years. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we had a lot of old guys, and they were the guys that might have had 25, 30 years of experience in the industry. They didn't want to keep, being controlled by the slave driver company that they were working for, and yet they still wanted to be engaged in the ag market. So here comes Beck Ag along and says, you can stay where you are, you can work out of your home, you can facilitate these phone conversations that we're having with farmers, do it all from your home. So we got quite a few retired old guys that worked for us too, and they were a big part of the success, because boy, did they have a lot of knowledge of the industry, and the farmers really respected the heck out of them. Back to the having kids thing, I love this quote, and I figure since this is a college crowd, the one downside of having that balance thing that we call it sometimes is our people, they may be in the middle of facilitating a conference call. If you got young kids, you have to be able to kind of multitask, deal with the kids, keep the office door locked or whatever it is. But with my own kids, when they were younger and I was starting the company, and I had a separate office in the house, and it had a door, didn't have a lock, but they knew that when I was on the phone and they came into the office, and hopefully not crying or screaming at the time, if I did this, it meant it's okay to stay there. I'll just be a minute. It's not, a client or somebody that I absolutely can't have